Well, hello there. It is me, the drinker, and I'm back for a Super Chat Catch-up. I meant to do this a couple of days ago, but man, life just kept getting in the way. Um, yeah, various things that I had to deal with, both on YouTube and in the real world, unfortunately, which stopped me doing a catch-up with all those Super Chats that came in that other night. It was a great stream, though. Damn, like the generosity of people was incredible. And obviously, didn't want to leave them unaddressed, so here we are. I thought I'd do my catch-up stream today during the day. So I've got my Irish coffee, and I guess we're ready to go. So let's not fuck around. Let's get right down to the meat of this matter, and I'll get right into it. So, as far as I can tell, the last super chat that I did the other night was from Jack Walker, who said, "Have you seen any of the Gundam series?" No, that is it's a Gundam's responsibility to watch that stuff. I'm not familiar with Gundam, unfortunately. Although it does seem to consist of giant mech warriors, which, well, that appeals to my sensibilities, so I'm alright with that. Reaper 857 says, I know you mostly do movies, but have you considered doing the stories for games, specifically one like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok? I would absolutely be up for doing that. I mean, I do video game reviews anyway, mostly on my second channel now. They're a bit more rare because they do take a lot more work. Like, they're just much longer reviews to edit together because there's a lot I want to talk about. So I tend to be a bit selective about the things that I cover. But I would love to talk about, first of all, Horizon Forbidden West, because I played that through not that long ago and really enjoyed it, but it's a game that got totally overshadowed by Elden Ring, which is kind of a shame because I think it's actually a pretty good story. So I'd like to talk about that. And yeah, I'm currently playing through God of War Ragnarok. I've been streaming a bit of it, and I'll be doing more soon. So yeah, that would be definitely a good one to cover. I've spoken to Mauler about this. He's played it through all the way, and he's of the opinion it's one of the best games he's ever played in terms of writing and storytelling. So he's a pretty fucking harsh judge. So if he says it's good, I'm intrigued. That's for sure. Kyle McVicker says, "What's your take on Backdraft from '91? Personally, I love it from a story aspect. Oh, and you're like me as old school games. I'm in Glasgow. Rain." Thanks, man. And yeah, Backdraft. I remember that being a pretty fucking good movie back in the day. I love a bit of pyrotechnics and I love a bit of explosions and stuff. And yeah, it was a good film. I'm sure it had Kurt Russell in it, and Ian Glenn and a few other people. But yeah, I thought it was a decent movie. It's one that's not been on for a long time, so I'd really like to rewatch that. But hey, you might see a review from me on it. Keel Robinson says Kang will erase Ant-Man from history. I mean, shit, man, I wouldn't be surprised. Ant-Man's become a bit player in his own movies anyway, so might as well just erase him altogether and it can just be the Wasp. Juan Olivares says, FYI, James Cameron's 2 billion quote was a joke. Variety reports a $400 million budget, which needs an insane but attainable 1 billion to break even. If that's the case, well, okay, fair enough. Like, I think we've speculated before that he might as well have been talking about the production for the next two movies that are also in development. He's already shot them. He shot them all back to back, so that obviously needed a fair amount of cost as well, and I guess he's trying to cover that. But yeah, for this movie, if it cost 400 million just for this one film, I mean, shit, man, that's got to be in line for like the most expensive movie in history. Will it make a billion in that case? Probably. Yeah. I would say it's attainable. It's the box office is not what it was, when the first Avatar was released, or even pre-COVID, but I think there'll still be enough residual fan interest in the Avatar series to hit a billion pretty easily. So if that's the case, yeah, fair enough. But I can't see it getting near 2 billion. So yeah, if it doesn't need to reach that, then I guess that's good from their point of view. British Dragon says, have you seen the Wednesday Addams series on Netflix? Any thoughts? A few episodes are directed by Tim Burton and it has the musical genius of Danny Elfman. Well, I mean, Danny Elfman produces great soundtracks, man. But yeah, haven't seen Wednesday yet. A lot of people have been asking me to do it, so I will definitely give it a watch and give it a review because I've heard good things about it. So hopefully, hopefully it's worth it. Robert Barusa says, have you ever watched Johnny Dangerously or the Gods Must Be Crazy movies? I haven't, I'm afraid, mate. Not familiar with those ones. Turanga says, one movie I think would be prime drinker material, which I don't think you've talked about, is Power of the Dog. The whole first half is the message. Not heard about that one, man. It sounds like a blast, though. Hypno Hype says, what's up, drinker? Question, how would you rank the Star Trek movies? Good luck with your movie. Thank you very much, man. I seem to recall I actually did this question the other night. I may have skipped back a little further than I'd intended. But I think from memory, what I did was probably Wrath of Khan is my top one, then Undiscovered Country, then probably Star Trek 3, then 4, then the motion picture, and then 5. So yeah, and I'm not even going to talk about the TNG movies. They're shit. Spidey Main says, hey drinker, I'm trying to start with being a writer, but I have no idea how to actually begin writing. Are there any tips you would give? I mean, in terms of like learning the mechanics of it, I never bothered doing that. I just kind of fired into it and learned on the job kind of thing. But to get started, I think sometimes you just have to power through. I mean, in terms of writing my own stories, I plot them out in advance. Like that definitely helps me. Think up your storyline. Write a nice detailed synopsis so you've got all of the different beats, the plot points, the character motivations, the arcs that they go on, and really go into a lot of detail. It might end up being 10, 15 pages long, but it'll give you all that framework that you need to then write your story. And it's a lot easier to make changes to that synopsis until you get it right and you're happy with it, rather than trying to like edit a 400-page manuscript, because that is a bitch of a job. Trust me, I've done it. No one of consequence says, completely agree about Interstellar. The whole scene with the Tesseract seemed like Nolan was grasping at straws for something to tie everything together in a satisfying way. Yeah. I don't know if the original ending had Matthew McConaughey actually getting killed by the black hole, and that just would have been it over. Wouldn't have been exactly a crowd-pleasing ending, but it seems a bit more plausible than this weird Tesseract thing. And he's like, strumming on the threads of time in order to send a Morse code message to his daughter in the past. Like, come on, man, that's garbage as far as endings go. Real shame. 52 Wolf says, do you think Sam Worthington will be able to redeem himself with Avatar 2? So, I mean, it's hard to tell because he's going to be in CGI form the whole movie, so it's not really Sam Worthington that you're seeing. He's essentially just a voiceover actor and doing a bit of mocap. The rest is just all down to the computers. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to talk shit about him, but at the same time, like as an actor, your job is, particularly if you're a leading man, your job is to command the screen. It's to have charisma. It's to be compelling. It's to make people pay attention to you. And I just don't think he's got it. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that charisma. He's just a bit bland. He's a bit uninteresting. You know, when he was in Terminator Salvation, he was without a doubt the weakest aspect of that movie. I mean, his character was kind of bland and boring as well, and it would have been perfectly fine without him, I think. But yeah, he just a really good actor with like really intense like screen presence could have made that role his own. He could have made something out of it. And Sam Worthington just isn't that guy. And he was kind of shit in Wrath of the Titans as well. So I just don't know what his niche is really. He's not really an action hero. He doesn't have the physique for it. Like I say, he doesn't have the charisma to be a leading man. I think he's just maybe more of a character actor. Yeah. Man Bites Tech says people nowadays will fork over $1 billion in tickets just for it not being shite ever since The Force Awakens. Has it come to this, Steer Drinker? I think it has. You know, even us as critics, we're like more forgiving towards movies that we probably would have slated 10 or 15 years ago. But it's like, well, comparatively, it's better than the rest of the shite that we're getting served up today. So I guess that makes it good, sort of. Yeah, it's weird how things become so relativistic over time, but talk about lowered expectations, man. Honestly, I look back to that time, you know, probably the 80s and up to about the mid 90s, and I just think, Christ, we were spoiled. We had the Indiana Jones movies, we had the last of the Star Wars movies in the early 80s. We had the Terminator movies, we had Jurassic Park, like, God, just incredible films that really just haven't been equaled and probably never will be. Jammer says Sunshine is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. Give it a go if you haven't yet. Not the 1973 one. I have. I've watched Sunshine, and I enjoyed it. It's a very different kind of movie, but yeah, the score is great. The performances are fantastic. I think there was an interesting choice of director for it, and yeah, Cillian Murphy's great as well in it. So yeah, it's a good film. I'm just Angela says, will you continue production hell? Those are my favourites. Yeah, I'll do more production hell. There'll always be more disastrous movies. Um, Claudio Rogajan says 90s nostalgia has taken a hit recently. First Kevin Conroy, then Jason David Frank passes away. What is with this month and losing childhood icons? I know, man. I mean, actors die. It's tragic, but it happens. But yeah, we seem to be going through a right spell with it. When was it? Was it 2019 or 2018? When we had like just loads of folk died at the start of the year, like David Bowie passed away and shit, and it was just yeah, it was just awful. But yeah, I guess you get spells like that. Okay. Casey Boyd says, Drinker, I remember super chatting you a few weeks ago asking if you'd make a comic, and you said that you someday would, but you didn't have the time. Now you have one coming out, which I bought. Coincidence? Yeah. I think I mentioned this the other night, actually. Yeah, like I say, there's projects that you work on, you get signed up for, and you're kind of under an NDA, and you're just not meant to talk about it until the time is right to reveal it. And that was one of those things. But hey, yeah, the comic that I've done, the a new kind of war. It's like a prequel to the Rambo series, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the process of working on it, and it's like you have to write a mini script for a movie. You have to tell the artist what you want to show them in each cell of animation or each cell of illustration, and you might only get 6 cells per page, so you've got to be really economical with it. But yeah, it was an interesting challenge as a writer, so I'm happy to do more. Hopefully, I will. Do you have? Oh, sorry, this is Greenridge Security who says, "Do you have a military advisor on the Ryan Drake film? If so, can you share? What can you share about their background?" Yeah, so we do have one. He is Canadian. He's in the Canadian military, and yeah, he's advising the actors and the director about things like room clearance, tactical assaults, weapons drills. Just even like simple things like how you handle the guns and maintaining good trigger discipline, that sort of thing. Just to try and give it that bit of authenticity, because we don't want it to look. I'm trying to say like we don't want it to look like a traditional Hollywood movie, but if you know what I mean, like we're not going to have people shooting from the hip or anything dumb like that. Like they need to handle all these weapons with a bit of like military accuracy, and we're going to try and get it as accurate as we can, I guess. JT Rocker says, "Have you seen Devotion yet?" I have not. I'm afraid no. Um, Nick Bell says, "Hey Drinker, can I get your opinion on a few favourites of mine? Deadwood, the series, and Rome." So yeah, haven't seen much of Rome. Watched a bit of Deadwood from time to time. Ian McShane was fantastic in it. The production looked pretty good. It was nice, like gritty and violent western. So yeah, it was good fun. Patricia Molina says, "Hola, Drinker. Have you watched Prime's The English? I enjoyed this miniseries." I haven't watched The English yet, no. I've seen it advertised quite a bit, though, so they're obviously trying to make a big deal out of it. Um, Next one is the Green Renegade says, "Drinker, you loquacious womanizer. Guilty as charged." I mean, they're not very, very receptive to it, but I do try. How do you deal with writer's block outside of a healthy dose of booze and a visit from Tatiana? Yeah, I can't remember if I answered this one the other night, but if I haven't, I usually advise taking a little break. Go and do something else. Go for a walk. Go to the gym. Just go for a drive, whatever you want to do. Just get away from it and clear your head. Do something else. And usually, when you've had that space between you and the work that you're doing, you come back to it. You'll be kind of fresh then, and you'll get on so much better. Usually, that resolves it. And as a writer, a lot of the ideas I've ended up having have been while I've been away from the computer and just doing other stuff. And suddenly you just get this little moment of inspiration. It's like, brilliant, I've figured out a solution to a problem that's been bugging me for ages. Volcanicus Rex says, I've got a lot of stories in my head that I'd like to tell. Based on your experiences, could you really recommend taking the plunge and trying to get published, or is it more hassle than it's worth? So, yeah, good question. I mean, I'd definitely recommend it. If you feel like you've got a good story that you want to tell, why not give it a shot? Like, I would rather try and fail than spend the rest of my life wondering, oh, could I have done this? Like, could I have been a good author and made a go of it? You don't want to be living with that kind of regret, man. So I definitely recommend giving it a go. And if you can't find a traditional publisher, there's always the option to self-publish. So there's loads of options open to you now. And hey, it's always good to get something that you've done out there. Get it out of your system, give it a try. That would be my advice. Joe Hatton says, "Have you ever seen Ravenous on Disney Plus and Robert Carlyle?" No, I haven't actually. No, Ravenous, not seen that one, man. Casey Boyd says, "Ever tried peanut butter whiskey?" Blech. Not bad. I don't like peanut butter, but I can drink that stuff straight. I have never heard of the concept of introducing peanut butter into whiskey. that that seems bizarre. Yeah, that sounds like having, I don't know, a chocolate cake with bits of vindaloo chicken in it. Like, just no, I don't want to mix those things together, I'm afraid. Flavius Alcanthar says, "Cheers, drinker. Doctor Who is screwed." Yes, it is. And Tennant is just a member berry to try and save it. I don't care anymore. It's done for me. Gin and tonic for me tonight. Cheers. Good choice. And yeah, I think bringing David Tennant back, he's just a nice big shiny key to jangle in front of us. And, it'll probably generate some short-term interest in the series again. But the moment they bring in this new guy, yeah, that'll die. Pretty much guaranteed. Laura the Red says, "Congrats on the 1.5 million. We're here because most of the time your reviews are far more entertaining than the movies and shows." Thank you. I'm glad you've enjoyed my stuff, man. I appreciate it. Finding Neo says, "I miss switchblades in movies too." Yeah, like, I think we were talking about Uzis from 80s action flicks, and you just don't see them anymore. And yeah, switchblades were another thing. Yeah, that's one thing that I miss is things like gun porn and equipment porn in movies. Just all this tactical gear and weaponry and stuff that you used to get like big loving shots of like the team assembling all their stuff for a big assault, and the hero gearing up for the final confrontation, and you don't really get it anymore. I think they don't want to fetishize weapons and stuff because they think it'll turn people into maniacs. God, it results in such boring films. And the thing that really pisses me off now, and this is happening more and more, is they are using CGI gunfire. So you've literally just got extras and stuff standing there with a plastic gun just going bum, 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 and then they just CGI in the gunfire and stuff. And it looks so shit because some of them don't do it properly and they're not even like recoiling with it. They're just holding the gun there flat. It looks so shit. Like you don't see the cartridges getting ejected properly. The guns don't move right. Hate that. So I really don't want to see that in my movie. And I want to see lots of gear porn in my film. So yeah, I have shots of the characters gearing up for their mission. Next one is the Gunslinger says, "Hi, what's your thoughts on the film Rango?" Have I seen Rango? Why do I feel like it's familiar? Let me just check who's in it again. Rango. No, I haven't seen that one, man. It's a Western comedy film directed by Gore Verbinski. Jesus, got a hell of a cast though. Johnny Depp, yeah, back when they weren't blacklisting him. Isla Fisher, always liked Isla Fisher. I still remember her from fucking Home and Away, which anyone from America is going to be scratching their heads over that one. But I think that's where she got started out. She was an Australian soap actress in a soap opera called Home and Away. But she was great in that. So many of the actors nowadays, guys like Chris Hemsworth and stuff, Guy Pearce, like they all started on Australian soap operas like Neighbours and Home and Away. It's really weird if you look back to their early roles like that. Next one is Domino412, who says, "How is Rogue Elements coming along? I'm currently reading Deception Game. Started with Redemption at the beginning of the year and can't put your books down. Excellent stuff, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them. And yeah, Rogue Elements is coming along fantastic. Like, we've been doing a lot of script work over the past few weeks. Like I've probably mentioned on previous streams, the Kickstarter was an enormous success. We now have like an incredible budget that we didn't think we'd have initially, and so we've expanded the script to make the most of it. So now we've got, it's gone from like say a 15-20 minute short film to up to like 45 minutes now. So it's way bigger than it was before. We've got a lot more characters in it now. We've got better setup for everything because we don't have to rush right into it to save money. More action scenes, more detailed action scenes, and more technically demanding stuff. So all that stuff we're now working in, and it's a really interesting process working on this because going from writing novels to writing a script is a really unusual switch as a writer, and I didn't fully appreciate it, but things like scene transitions and stuff, like you have to have a really visual mind of how you want this to play out. Because as a writer, you go from scene to scene, you go from chapter to chapter. There's no particular need to have some flashy, like, sequence where you switch carefully from like one character to another character. Like say for example that opening sequence from 2001: A Space Odyssey, where the apes throw the bone up into the sky and then it turns into a spacecraft and things like that's an incredible scene transition. But as an author writing a novel, you can't represent something like that on the page necessarily, and so you would never think to do it, but you have to be conscious of that sort of thing when you're writing a screenplay. And so working with Travis, the director, who's got a very visual mind for stuff like that, we found this middle ground where we can, I've got the story, I've got the dialogue, the character beats and stuff, and then he helps with the transitions and how you make this all work as an actual screenplay. So it's been a real learning curve for me, but I've really enjoyed the challenge. And so that script is now pretty much ready. So now it's with the stunt guys, the guys who work out how many shooting days are required, just all that kind of behind the scenes stuff that like you don't really think about too much when you see movies like the finished product. But all of this has to be budgeted, it has to be costed, and they have to start to plan it. How many days is this going to take to shoot? How much time do we have to allow for pickup shots or reshoots or whatever? What's the actors' availability going to be like? What's the crew going to be available like? Then we've got to like find locations. They've got to rent places out. They got to rent weapons, pyrotechnics, all that fun stuff. Fortunately, I'm not too involved in that, which is great. I just get to kick back and shout orders at them. But it's coming along great, and so the schedule in mind is to start shooting in the springtime because we obviously don't want to be shooting in Canada in the middle of winter because everyone will die of hypothermia, and particularly because we're shooting at nighttime. We need to have a certain amount of like reliable weather, I guess, to be able to do this. So that is where we're at right now, and obviously I'll be happy to give more updates as we progress. Kelly here 20 says you should watch Yellow Jackets. It's got diversity but doesn't feel forced and has an amazing story, characters and acting without feeling forced. Nice, I like it. Dies Pater says, I would hope you've seen and would recommend Charlie Wilson's War. It's really good. Yes, and that's Tom Hanks, as I understand. That was about the war in Afghanistan, how the CIA helped to fund the Mujahideen against the Soviets. Yeah, it's a good movie. Very interesting, very good insight into, well, setting the stage for like future conflicts, I guess, and sowing the seeds of like problems that would come back to haunt us all later. So it's really interesting stuff. Abe versus the World says, Yo Drinker. So here is one. Name a remake of a movie that you think is better than the original. P.S. Ellie from The Last of Us 2 is gay, by the way. Thank you. I think the example I gave actually the other night was the remake of what was it called? Cape Fear. Yeah, the Robert De Niro remake. Really liked that one. Yeah, I thought that was probably a good example of an improvement. Probably Battlestar Galactica as well. That was definitely better than the original. I always liked Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake. I thought that was pretty cool. Whiskey White says, favourite whiskey? So, I got a couple. Highland Park, Lagavulin, and probably Old Putney at the moment. my tastes do change depending on what whiskey I'm drinking right now, but those are generally my reliable go-tos. Lord Backtor says, "Hey drinker, what's your favourite so bad it's good movie that you can watch to laugh at instead of with?" Right. There's one called Fatal Deviation, which is Ireland's first and only ever martial arts movie, which is fantastic. It's so fucking amateurish. It's great. But you can tell the people that made it had great fun. Other ones, probably something like Armageddon, which I think is just a big dumb action flick, and clearly not amazingly written, but yeah, you just gotta love it for the spectacle, I would say. Um, Derek says, "Are you a fan of M Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable? And if so, would you ever do a drinker recommends on it?" So Unbreakable, didn't love it. I mean, yeah, I didn't. You know that whole trilogy of like Unbreakable and Glass and I can't remember the other one with James McAvoy, but yeah, I didn't really love M Night Shyamalan's take on the superhero genre. It's so dour, it's so bleak and depressing. Yeah, didn't really love it. I sort of appreciated the attempt to make it more grounded and almost explainable, and trying to rationalize it all. But it's not really something I would feel compelled to go back and rewatch. No One of Consequence says, "As much as I love Terminator 1 and 2, True Lies is probably my favourite Cameron Arnie film. Seeing a hard R action comedy under Cameron's direction was refreshing. To boot, it's a standalone." It is, yeah. And it's a funny one in James Cameron's filmography because I feel like it was a movie that was made with relatively little fuss. It didn't take him like 10 years like it normally does to produce it. As far as I know, there was no major like problems on set. There wasn't like a particularly challenging shoot or anything. It just seemed to come together pretty easily. And it came, only a few years after Terminator 2. So I guess he was just keen to work with Arnold again. And yeah, I really like it. I like Jamie Lee Curtis in it as well for obvious reasons. But yeah, I'm planning to do a review on that. I've been meaning to do it for ages, like just as an extra shots. But it'd be an interesting little movie to talk about because I think it deals with some interesting ideas. Like ultimately, it's a story about like a middle-aged couple that are trying to find the spark in their marriage again against the backdrop of like global terrorism. It's the most batshit crazy concept ever, but it totally works. And yeah, I think it's a fun little movie. It pretty much saved Arnold's career as well because he did Last Action Hero not long before. I think '93 was Last Action Hero, and that was the first real flop of his career, and it was a high profile one too. And yeah, he was in a bit of trouble after that. Like he really needed a hit to kind of get his career back on track. And fortunately, True Lies came along, and that was a big success. So it kept him going a bit longer. But yeah, it couldn't hold the end off for long. Like the mid to late '90s were not a good time for Arnold Schwarzenegger. David L says, "I'll never forgive myself for not hanging out with you in my hometown of Orlando when you were here. Question, have you seen the trailer for the William Dafoe movie Inside yet? Thoughts?" No, I haven't seen that trailer yet, I'm afraid. I don't know. But yeah, not to worry. I will be back in Orlando. I'm actually going to be in Atlanta for a Comic Con in the not too distant future. I will tell you more about that soon. But yeah, that'll be early in the new year. So yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunities to hang out. Devlin Alistair says, "A gift of 10 Yankee dollars. Why? Don't know." Thank you. Jack White says, "Drinker, do you have an email? Because I want to send you links to anime and manga sites that I use." Yeah, if you just go to my channel and go to the About section, there's a business email there. Casey Boyd says, "Have you heard of Tar? Kate Blanchett stars in an anti-woke music movie. It's got a bit of a buzz right now. Stuckman liked it. I mean, Stuckman seems to like everything, but yeah, I've heard good things about Tar. Doesn't she? Doesn't she have a rant with one of the main characters about like their concepts of gender and stuff like that? And it's very like anti-woke, but I don't know. Like I've heard that she's kind of portrayed as the villain in the movie, so I'm not sure how like anti-woke the film is. But I'd be interested to watch it all the same. Norwegian tax authorities. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Have you ever consumed alcohol mixed with iron brew? Yes, I have. Don't mix whiskey with Iron Brew. That is fucking garbage. But vodka and Iron Brew is actually not a bad drink, and I've had it many a time here in Scotland. So yeah, that's not a bad mixer. Just a robot says, "Will you be doing a full review of Cobra Kai when it's fully done?" Yes, I want to. I want to bookend that because I talked about it in season one, I think, and I was giving it a drinker recommends then. So yeah, it'd be nice to finish up and give an overall view of the show. But man, that show just makes me happy. I don't know how to describe it, but I just feel really good when I watch it. Silas Jan says, "Do you watch any anime? I think it's becoming more popular because it has what people want and none of the message that we see in Hollywood today." That is very true. I've said this before. Like, if Hollywood doesn't provide audiences with what they want, then they're going to look elsewhere, and that's why you're starting to see foreign movies and foreign TV shows start to gain more of a foothold. I mean, look how everyone went nuts over Squid Game. Something like Triple R, which I loved. I thought it was fantastic fun. Movies like that have found success over here. It can be done, and if, like I say, if you don't give people what they want, then they're going to look elsewhere. I mean, I haven't particularly gotten into anime yet, but I've watched the odd movie here and there and liked it. Shaka when the walls fell. That's a great reference to TNG. Playing some Red Dead Redemption 2 while listening to the stream, and when you were discussing drinks, a passing NPC said, "I wish whiskey grew on trees." Cheers. Red Dead Redemption 2 is just a fantastic game. Played it from start to finish, loved every minute of it. The world is just so fun to explore. Like, you can't help but enjoy yourself when you're in the Wild West. It looks beautiful. The graphics are great. The performances are brilliant. The characters are well written. It's just great fun. I've had some monumental fuck ups as well when I've tried to do missions in that. Like, yeah, I was passing like a woman whose wagon had broken down, and she asked for a ride back into town. I was like, sure, that's a nice easy mission to do. Got randomly attacked by some bandits, so I had to start shooting them, and she ran off thinking that I was like a murderer. And it's like, yeah, she's going to report me to the sheriff, isn't she? And then I'm going to be on the run. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Got my rifle out and shot her. And that did not do me any favors for my karma. The next one is John Smith, who says, "What's a renowned classic that you don't care for?" Oh, good question. Muller and I talked about this not too long ago. So we both weirdly were of the same opinion. Like, something like The Godfather, right? I totally recognize that it's a fantastic movie. Great performances, great writing and stuff. It's an absolute, classic. It's just, I personally never really cared for it. And it's not, again, not because I think it's bad or anything. It's just, it doesn't personally appeal to me as a viewer. I was never that bothered for like mafia gangster type films. And so there just wasn't that much for me to latch onto with it. So it was a weird one. But I think Mahler's kind of in the same boat, actually. So yeah, things like that, I guess. And again, you feel almost guilty for not loving them because you feel like obliged to. It's like a classic of cinema, but you ultimately like what you like, I suppose, and you're not going to like every good movie. Clintavian gave me a super sticker with a smiley face, so thank you. That puts a smile on my face. Multi-Drider says, "Have you ever drank whiskey for it?" What's that? "Have you ever drank whiskey for it being in a movie like Ardbeg 10 in Constantine, Glenlivet 12 in The Mummy, and Johnny Walker Black Label in Blade Runner?" Not really, because how can I put it? Like, whiskey is just really accessible here, and so I kind of would drink it anyway. So it's not like movies influence my choice of them or anything like that. But it's always funny when you see like a whiskey that's really popular here or that you are a fan of, but you don't often see it in America, and then just suddenly it crops up in a movie. Although it is funny as well when they fuck up the pronunciation. Like, I remember one film that this rich guy was like acting like a big shot because he had a bottle of Lagavulin, and he introduced it to like this other character who he was trying to impress. Like, this other character was like from a poorer background and didn't really drink whiskey because he wasn't his thing. And he's like, "Yeah, well, can I interest you in a glass of Lagavulin?" And And to this day, I don't know if it was just nobody on set knew how to pronounce it, and that was his best effort, or it was meant to expose him as being actually not very knowledgeable about whiskey, and he was just trying to be a big shot. Either way, yeah, it gave me a little chuckle. PCW Exhaust Mods says, watched Back to the Future the musical in London. It actually made me lose love for Back to the Future. Just rewatched 1 and 2 and my faith restored. Still my favourite film, Back to the Future 1 of all time. Interesting. So the musical made you not like it? I'm shook. I mean, I haven't seen the musical, but usually they're pretty rousing things and they just reinforce your love for something. But hey, in terms of my appreciation for those movies, it's only grown stronger over the years. One day I want to do a proper review of them, but yeah, I would hold them up as one of the best trilogies of all time, of all cinema. I just think they're fantastic. Barely an ounce of criticism for any of them. They still look fantastic today. Like the special effects hold up really well. How can you not love Doc Brown? He's just a great character. He's so funny. And yeah, they're great. The attention to detail in them is fantastic. And yeah, in terms of favorites, I think 1 is probably my favorite. Loads of people point to 2. Not many people say 3, but yeah, I think 1's probably my favorite. 2 sometimes feels a little bit chaotic because there's so much to try and cram in. There's a lot going on in that film, and it maybe feels a little bit almost rushed at times. I don't know. There's always for me, there's a slight feeling of it's not quite right pacing wise, but maybe I'm just being crazy. Hold on, my phone's fucking up here. Stop it! Shut up! Stupid thing. All right. Brandon Face says, in your opinion, of all the Will Smith movies and shows, which one slaps the most? Which is the worst? I mean, shit, man, it's probably got to be After Earth, isn't it? The one that he tried to do with his son, Jaden. God, that was garbage. I think Honest Trailers summed it up pretty well. It's like, they got Will Smith, probably one of the most charismatic actors in Hollywood, trying to play a character with absolutely zero charisma. Yeah, that was a tough one. A tough one to watch. And yeah, his son can't fucking act. I mean, it just proves that talent's not hereditary, I suppose, but yeah, it feels like Will Smith almost scuppered his own career trying to elevate his son's, and his son just doesn't have his talent. So yeah, that's probably one of the worst. Mr. Hedgebull says, have you seen Sneakers? Stellar cast all round and an excellent comedy thriller. Last time that Hollywood did hacking right. Maybe a drinker recommends. I don't think I've seen Sneakers, no. I always think of Hackers when I'm thinking of movies like that, and that was Angelina Jolie, a very early role for her. I love that film actually because it was this weird 90s idea of what hacker culture looked like, and everyone dressed up like a fucking reject from Blade Runner or something. It was the outfits were so goofy, but yeah, it had absolute charm. Claudia Rogajan says, oh, the Suicide Squad was a flop, right? Well, it didn't deserve to be. This is the James Gunn one. Yeah, I know it wasn't a huge success financially. I didn't think it was a flop, but what can I say? I mean, it was, in my opinion, a good movie, and it was a big redemption for the whole Suicide Squad brand. Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was funny. It led into Peacemaker, which again was a good TV show. Yeah, it's a shame it didn't do better. Rebecca Gold says, you should watch He Never Died, a 2015 really odd and enjoyable film. Don't watch the sequel. They replaced the lead with a woman of color. Woke crap. Okay. Take the recommendation. Joel Rees says, have you ever heard of the movie Seven Psychopaths? Yeah, that's Christopher Walken, I think, that's in that, and a bunch of other people. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I don't remember a huge amount about it, but I know it was Christopher Walken going full Christopher Walken. So, yeah, I would need to rewatch it properly to give you a full review. Wayland Bucephus says, in the late 80s, the Iowa-class battleships were reactivated for service, serving in First Desert Storm and even the Iraq War fitted with missiles. Yes, I kind of remember that. I don't know how I got onto talking about the Iowa-class battleships. I think someone asked me a question about the movie Battleship. It must have been that. But yeah, they were active in the first Gulf War, and because they had really long-range guns, they could shell Iraqi positions 50 miles inland, which is just bonkers when you think about it. Like a shell could be fired that far from a battleship, and I just love the idea of like these poor Iraqi soldiers like getting shelled to death by a fucking World War II battleship. I mean, of all the most like bizarre things to happen to you, it's got to be that. But yeah, it's a testament to how well built those things were that they could still serve like 50 years after they were built. Unbelievable stuff. And it's a shame they got retired, but hey, I guess they can't keep going forever. Mr. Burns says, Drinker, I find you this summer being diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. Jeez, sorry, man. Guys like you and Gary have helped me take my mind off my battle that I'm winning. Well, that's good to know, man. I'm glad you're winning it. I teach English and film history and have loved film. Keep up the work on movies. Thank you very much, man, and I wish you the very best with your battle. Get well soon, my friend. Big Daddy MRI says, Hey Drinker, have you seen the Banshee series? And if so, what do you think? Mr. Brown highly recommends it, and I think it is on Hulu here in the US. Thanks, and have a wee drink on me. Cheers. And that was for $20, so thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. My coffee's cold, unfortunately, but I was willing to drink that for you, my friend. Yeah, Banshee, people have recommended it to me because it's got Anthony Starr in it, because obviously I liked him as Homelander. And yeah, they keep saying, watch Banshee. I just need to find the time. Like so many other shows, it's just finding the time. Midas says, have you seen Samaritan on Amazon Prime? No, but I'm going to, because it's Sylvester Stallone, is it not? I think people were liking it too. It's meant to be quite good, so I will give it a try. Boar Legion says, next Kickstarter you do should be for reshooting the Lost Hell scenes from Event Horizon. Cheers, and I'll go away now. I would love to do that. It's like, I'm going to need lots of porn stars and lots of amputees and at least a couple of weeks. And I'll see what I can do. That chat I had with Emily Booth a couple of weeks ago, that was really interesting. The bits that she was describing. Meh, it sounded like a wild shoot, man. The Egg Shen says, may have missed it, but have you seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix? Yes, I have. Any Cyberpunk you've read that you'd recommend? Congrats on the hard work paying off so well. Thank you. Not a big reader of Cyberpunk as a fiction, but yeah, I watched Edge Runners and I really enjoyed it. The animation was good. So the performances were, the voice acting, should I say, was really good, and the storylines were, yeah, great. Nice kind of mature character insights and some bits that really get you, man. So, yeah, I liked it. It's on my list to review now that I've seen it. Landon Broussard says, Hey Drinker, love your videos. I always wondered what colour are your eyes. I always assumed they were brown, but realised I've never seen you without sunglasses. Well, allow me to help you, sir. There you go. I have blue eyes. Can you see them? There. Yeah, my eyes are blue. And I only wear the sunglasses because it allows me to drink and get really unfocused, and people will never know. What says, would love to see you do a commentary on Escape from New York. I don't say review because I think everyone loves that film. Yeah, a commentary as in like a happy hour, or like, do a watch through. Either one would be pretty fun to do. I always assumed I would do it as like a Drinker's Extra Shots because I've done a lot of John Carpenter movies that way. Wrong Think Geek says, Hey Drinker, I got a recommendation for you if you've not seen it. Something to enjoy rather than suffer through. Brotherhood of the Wolf. 1/3 period piece, 1/3 monster movie, and 1/3 martial arts flick. All awesome. Fucking sign me up. That sounds pretty good. Mr. Case, sorry, says, Cheers, have you watched any episodes of King of the Hill? The more I learn about TV writing and character development, the more I love that show. I was never a regular watcher of King of the Hill. Like, I would just watch the occasional episodes. It was pretty funny. It's just one of those things that, I don't know, maybe it's not on in the UK as much as it's in the States, but yeah, I thought it was fine when I was watching it. Alejandro Diaz says, any thoughts on the menu? Not really, no, I don't know much about it. Kenny Beard, my top 3 movies in no particular order: Almost Famous, With Nell and I, and Point Break. Thoughts? What are your top 3 movies? So, yeah, where do I start with this one? Point Break, yeah, it's a good fun like action movie, or heist movie. I guess that's the better description. It's a weird one, like being so based around the surfing culture in the 90s. Like it's really a product of its time. Yeah, a very like kind of early action role for Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Gary Busey's great in it as well. Um, and of course, the incomparable Patrick Swayze. With No and I, yep, there's a lot of drinking in that, so can't criticize that. And Almost Famous, I don't think I've seen Almost Famous, so I couldn't comment on it. My own top three, Christ, how do I even pick? It's not going to be necessarily in terms of artistic merits, so don't expect some art house flick. It would just be movies that I would just really happily rewatch anytime. So it's got to be Big Trouble in Little China, pr- probably Terminator 2, just because it's pretty much the perfect action movie. And my last one, do I go with Aliens or do I go with Predator? I think I'm going to go with Aliens in terms of movies I'd rather rewatch. So that would be my top three. And again, it's just movies that I would really enjoy watching anytime rather than movies that are like the most intellectual ever. Botep says, "Hey Drinker, you should have Lauren Chen on for a happy hour sometime. She's got a second channel where she covers media and she's friends with Mr. H." Very cool. Yeah, I would happily have her on. I didn't really know that she covered media and films and stuff. I thought she was more just political commentary. But in that case, yeah, if she's available, I'd happily have her on. Waylon Bucephus says, "I know your opinion on the Batman. In my opinion, the first two-thirds of it are really good, but the last third is where it falls apart. What would you like to see in a Batman film?" I mean, Christ, we've had elements of this. It's almost like we've had all the right elements spread over multiple different movies. So we've had the really like grounded, um, intense sort of Christian Bale movies, and the Batman in some respects. Maybe the Christian Bale ones were a little bit too grounded. Like by the time you get to the Dark Knight Rises, like Gotham is literally just New York. But then you had the really like stylized version of Gotham City that you had in the Tim Burton movies, where it's all like gigantic, like buildings that look like a combination of a Gothic cathedral and like a 1920s skyscraper. Like that's what Gotham City should look like to me. And I think to some extent even Zack Snyder kind of understood that. So I'd like to see that kind of design aesthetic of the Tim Burton movies combined with the sort of intensity and the sort of grounded, not believability necessarily, but the maturity of like the Christian Bale movies. That would be the ultimate Batman for me. And yeah, a really great version of the Joker. I think Heath Ledger did a fantastic job with that. Fuck knows what they were trying to do with the Joker and the sort of little scenes that you see in the Batman. Like that just looks like it's going to be a really mental guy with a fucked up face. Like not the kind of flamboyant villain I guess that you've had in other versions. But yeah, a really worthy adversary for Batman. Don't have him fighting aliens or gods or any of that nonsense like they try to do with the DCEU. Batman is a crime fighter that takes on human criminals. That he has to utilize his mind and his physique, I guess, his physical fighting ability. Yeah, it's got to be believable enemies, I suppose. So that would be all my wish list for a good Batman movie. Jack White says, Drinker, check out Metro Redux, the Devil May Cry series, Persona series, Ninja Gaiden series, and the Dead or Alive series. Well, we all remember Dead or Alive. It's very bouncy. As a teenager, I loved those games. Yeah, Metro Redux. Yeah, I love the Metro games. I actually just recently replayed Metro Last Light, and then Metro Exodus. Haven't played the very first one, I don't think. But yeah, the other two, loved them. And yeah, I love the world that they're set in. Monkey D. Garp says, "Can you watch One Piece Red? Sorry, One Piece film Red." I could, if I knew what that was. One Piece film Red. Not sure. John Mitzis says, "The Willow series." Yeah, we'll get to that. Believe that. Yeah, give me some time and I'll do a review. Nicholas Stour says, "Thoughts on the Resident Evil novels by S.D. Perry. I grew up in the early 2000s reading her novels about the world of Resident Evil and loved them." So I've heard good things about these novels. Obviously S.D. Perry was like a pen name for like a different author, but yeah, they essentially write novelizations of the games, and they do a pretty good job of like fleshing them out and giving like more grounded explanations for a lot of the obscene stuff that happens in them. Never really read them myself, but I'd be interested to give them a go sometime. Rampaging Reject says, now that Phase 4 is finally behind us, what in your opinion is the best Marvel TV show or movie? Um, Best Marvel TV show? The best TV show I would probably put as, or should I say the least bad? Um, Probably WandaVision. Although it had a crappy ending, like the premise was really good, and some of the like style choices were pretty decent. That idea of like having it set in a 1950s TV show and then progressing through the different decades, and everything's done to the style of the time. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked it. It just shame that it had this just generic Marvel storyline behind everything. It was just kind of garbage. And the best movie of the phase, it's got to be Spider-Man: No Way Home. I don't think there's any contest there. That was the only one that was halfway decent. Ironically, it wasn't even Marvel's. So, shows you how far they've fallen. Alex Deacon says, Sambuca is awful. Yes, I agree. I had two incidents. The first was I wazzed up on my best mate's feet while sleepwalking. Ugh. And then second, same mate, same state. I peed in his lounge, which was grade 2 listed building. That is a very understanding friend that you've got there. Assuming he still is your friend, but yeah, fucking hate Sambuca. Hate the taste of it. Bad Adam 12 says, from best to worst, stout, porter, lager, wheat, IPA, seltzer. What's your best to worst? So I really like IPA and lager. They would be my top ones. Wheat, never really cared for a wheat beer. Seltzer, yeah, I'd probably put that around the middle, and then stout and porter would be near the bottom. I'm not really a stout man. Like I find them quite heavy going, and for me they're not that much fun to drink. Sir Atlick says, greetings from Canada. Since the Berserk Memorial was released, would you call the Berserk analysis dude the Almighty? Lol, to talk about it. Warning, he might try to gaslight you into thinking he doesn't exist, but he's just very shy. What? I mean, I could. I would need to experience Berserk first before I could talk to someone else about it. Apollo says, in my opinion, Terminator 2 was so much coincidences and ex machinas. Sarah's motives were driven by dreams. The movie contradicted itself with Terminator not being able to kill, with machines can't feel pain, police too. I mean, I don't know. Like Sarah's motivation wasn't really the dreams. It was the fact that the police guys came around to the mental hospital and told her, like, look, there's been this shootout in a shopping mall. We've seen this guy who we knew shot up a police station when you were in it, like 10 years ago. What's going on? And so that tips her off that there's another Terminator back, and it's probably going to go after her son. So she needs to get out. Then that's what she needs to do. And in terms of like the dreams, like she always knew that the Judgment Day was coming. She was told that by Kyle Reese. Like that's just her mind conjuring up images of it. But if you knew that nuclear annihilation was coming for the human race, it'd probably mess you up a little bit as well. So, yeah, what was the other thing? The Terminator not being able to kill. I mean, that's because John orders it not to. Like, it was perfectly happy to kill people before that. It just didn't really have a need to. Machines can't feel pain. Yeah, they can, as far as I know. Like, the Terminator, as far as it goes with that, is like, it says that it senses injuries, and you could kind of infer that that data is like pain. But that's what I'd expect. Like, if it's been damaged, it would know it. It would need to know. Otherwise, like it would like end up walking into things and like fucking itself up, and it wouldn't be able to pass for human anymore. So it makes sense that it would understand if it's being injured. Paolo74 says, "Congrats on 1.5 million, drinker. Thank you. Have an eggnog on me. Ugh. What game has affected you most emotionally while playing it? Shadow of the Colossus for me. That was a good game. It affected me most emotionally. I mean, there's a list here. Final Fantasy VII is probably a good example. When Aerith died, I was like 12 years old or something, 13 maybe, when that happened, and oh, that hit like a ton of bricks, man. I'd never seen something like that happen in a video game, and yeah, I think I played through a lot of the rest of the game thinking, oh, she'll come back, won't she? She'll come back, right? She will. Oh no, she won't. Fuck, she's actually really dead. So that was a hell of an experience. That what else? The Last of Us. I think that gave you a pretty good emotional experience there. With Joel's daughter getting killed very early on, and then the sacrifices that he makes to try and save Ellie. Yeah, things like that. I think those games were pretty well constructed. And I'm trying to think if the Metal Gear Solid games had that kind of impact. Maybe Metal Gear Solid 3. I think the relationship between Snake and the boss was really good. I think she was a really well developed character. And yeah, I felt really bad for her when you get to the end of it and you find out her real backstory. It's tragic stuff, So all of those games really got to me. And God of War Ragnarok's having a good try at it. It's like you're 5 minutes into the game and your dog dies. Like one of the big dire wolves that you're looking after. It's old and you pretty much one of the characters euthanizes it, which damn, that's hard to watch. As a doggo owner myself, it's not something you want to face up to. Fluffy Tortuga says, "Do the Mel Gibson movie Fat Man? He plays Santa." Mel Gibson is Santa. Fucking hell. Blue Collar Loser, Drinker, thank you for constantly inspiring me. Thanks, man. I binged all the Rings of Power and downed an entire bottle of vodka. My review is at 3,000 views. Good going, mate. People love it. Channel is slowly growing because of you. Love you, brother. Thank you very much, man. And yeah, keep up the good work. It's when you're just starting out and you're trying to get that foothold, I guess, on YouTube. It is hard going. Like it certainly took me a while, and sometimes it just takes one video to really blow up, and that gives you your start. But in other cases, you've got just a gradual build up to it. But either way, if you keep producing good content, you'll eventually get there. So good stuff, mate. Rabid One says Hard Boiled with Chow Yun Fat, directed by John Woo, best action movie ever. They filmed the giant action scenes without having a completed script. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would rank it as the best action movie ever, but the shootouts in it, like that hospital shootout where it's just one continuous take, like the work that must have gone into that is mind blowing. Yeah, the pyrotechnics and everything, the fact that it's all done with practical effects, love every aspect of it. I even actually referenced it when I was talking with the director for Rogue Elements and said, look, I know we can't do anything of this scale, but if we can do something that approaches that. Just like a fairly long shot, we can get lots of good pyrotechnics in, lots of squibs, lots of explosions. That would just be a great thing to show people and just show that hey, things like this can still be done, and they should be done because they look fantastic. Yeah, that would be great to be able to do. Stregloff says, would love to see you review Bondarchuk's Russian War and Peace films. They are truly epic and the best adaptation of Tolstoy's classic. Right? I mean, yeah, I mean, hell of a director back in the day. I don't think I've seen The War and Peace, or his version of it anyway, but yeah, it'd be an interesting one to review. It would be great to tackle more classic films like that if I get the chance. John Papasergio says, I've brought it up before and I'm going to keep bringing it up, knowing it's one of my favourite movies, and were you to do it, The Jacket. Oh, sorry, you were going to be in it. The Jacket, watch it. Yeah, so that's Keira Knightley and Adrian Brody. And I was going to be in that. I was going to be an extra. But yeah, I auditioned for it and stuff as basically a mental patient, which would have been great. But then the timing was just terrible and it was just impossible for me to do it. Unfortunately, I had loads of other work and family commitments at the time, so couldn't be in it. But yeah, I never actually watched it, interestingly enough. Line Walker says, Ahoy Drinker, now that season 1 of Andor is over, what's your take on it? Yeah, so I've just done a review actually, so you'll have gotten that. And yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty good show. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad they made it. I'm glad Gilroy got a chance to make this thing. I wish more of the Disney shows had been like this for Star Wars. It would have been so much better to have a universe like Andor on TV. Yeah, it's not without its faults. The cast is a bit overstuffed. It's a bit slow burny at times, a bit too slow for its own good. And I think people they've been so conditioned to have these just instant gratification shows where it's just loads of bright colors and lots of action, lots of explosions, that the idea of having to think about a Star Wars show just doesn't really compute anymore, so it put loads of people off. And it's a shame, because I think it's a good show. It's Muzz says, when will you do a video on The Boys season 3? Yeah, that is one of those chestnuts that I haven't cracked yet. And I want to. I really do. It's just things keep getting in the way. It's so fucking annoying. But I really want to tackle it. Herbizoid says, have you seen Max Landis' response to your Hollywood take? No, I haven't actually. Yeah, I don't know what he's been saying. Miaru Miaru87 says, Drinker, what are your thoughts on Don Bluth's gems, Secret of NIHM, All Dogs Go to Heaven, and Land Before Time? Also, you looking sexy whenever you rub your beard while in thoughts. I was funny, I was reading ahead and just like, I'm going to rub my beard for this one. Thank you. The Land Before Time. Um, right, is that an animated one? Hold on. I think I remember it. Okay. Right, if that's the one I'm thinking of, that's an animated movie, isn't it? What's the other one? All Dogs. Yeah, I remember the Land Before Time as a kid watching it. I thought it was pretty good. If you like dinosaurs, you're a quids in. And the other one was what? All Dogs Go to Heaven. I don't remember that one, but I will check. Right. I have to go. Right. Okay. Yeah, not familiar with All Dogs Go to Heaven, but I liked. Yeah, I liked The Land Before Time. I thought that was pretty good. Claudia Rogajan says it's Paul Giamatti, not Gandolfini in Cinderella Man. Yes, It's funny. I thought the other day about that. I was like, I'm pretty sure I just went and blurted out Gandolfini instead of Paul Giamatti. Got them mixed up. But yeah, Paul Giamatti in Cinderella Man. When I was having a big gushing session about how much I like that movie, he's great. He plays a great character. Gives a really good performance. I think if you take a drink every time he says "son of a bitch," you will be like me by the end of it. You'll be fucked. But yeah, it's a good film. Travis Silcox says Socrates said that the stories were powerful as it can change people's thinking. He advocated stories to be carefully crafted and many removed. Do you see this as a problem in modern times? Well, it certainly is in the sense that we've gone for quantity over quality. It's just like produce more stuff as much as you can over and over again. And yeah, inevitably the well of creativity runs dry and you end up with shite. And yeah, I think God, I wish studios weren't rushing to produce as much shit as they could for like streaming services to try and come out on top. I wish they were more selective about the stories they told, and I wish they put in the effort to tell them properly. That would be really nice. Yeah, I would definitely just take fewer movies but better quality ones any day of the week. Alejandro Diaz says, I'd love to see your take on Andy Sidaris' Hard Ticket to Hawaii, part of the Guns, Girls, and G-Strings collection. Wow, sign me up. I'll need to watch that. It sounds promising, that's for sure. Adam West says, I know Dean Koontz gets a ton of hate in the mainstream, but I found his books to be more palatable than Stephen King's. I'd love your opinion on Winter's Moon. I find it quite captivating, and I think if it's done justice, would be one hell of a scary movie. I mean, yeah, I'm not really a connoisseur of Dean Koontz's work, so I couldn't really tell you on that one, man. Yeah, I've read a few Stephen King books in my time, and yeah, he definitely verges into the weird. So it'd be interesting to see what other authors do in similar genres. And yeah, maybe Dean Koontz is less of an absolute bellend than Stephen King is in real life. Florian Gayer gave me $10, so thank you. The Drinker Highlights says, is it fine for me to clip up highlights of your streams? I only do short clips from old episodes once I see you don't upload that part. I'm a fan, sometimes hard to find your opinion on a certain topic. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're alright. If it's just really old stuff from live streams and things, I don't mind too much. Like, yeah, as long as you're not trying to re-upload entire videos that I've produced, because, you know, that's kind of my work, if you know what I mean. But yeah, like the occasional like little clip that you found amusing or whatever from a live stream, I don't mind too much if you do that. Robbo96 says, hey Drinker, apologies if this has already been asked. I'm late to the chat. Thoughts on the new indie movie? Saw your initial preview, but now new details have come to light. Interested to know where you stand on it. So yeah, I think in the time in between, we've seen the trailer. I've put out my thoughts on the trailer, so you've probably had a pretty good summary of my thoughts by now, but yeah, I don't have much confidence in this film. I don't want to see an old Harrison Ford in it. I don't want to see Phoebe Waller-Bridge try to pretend like she's the new Indiana Jane. Yeah, I've got no confidence in Lucasfilm's ability to do this character justice now. I just wish they wouldn't make any more indie movies. Or if they had to, use Mutt as a character to carry it on. You know, maybe recast it because Shia LaBeouf's a bit of a nut job these days, but that would be too difficult. If you got a more grown-up version of Mutt, it'd be fine. Cameron Davis says SG1 jumped the shark in season 8. Yeah, I think maybe that's where the Ori came into it. They were just not an interesting, antagonists. And yeah, I think by that point they'd done everything they could do, and they were just burned out in terms of creativity. Yeah, but wasn't sad to see it end. I think they just accomplished everything they set out to do, but it was a great show in its day. Christopher Pratchett says, "Have you seen Odd Thomas?" I'm afraid I haven't. Jeremy Paris says, "Who would win in a fight, a Jedi or Wolverine?" So it depends how quickly Wolverine can regenerate. Because if you've got a Jedi with a lightsaber, right, would a lightsaber go through his adamantium claws? If it did, like if it could cut right through his skeleton, then you could just dice him up into little tiny bits. And before he could reform, I don't know, just dump him into a vat of acid or something to dissolve him. So yeah, I think the Jedi would probably win, particularly if they could just like lift him up with the Force and like throw him around or something. Yeah, there's no way he's gonna beat them then. Michael Batty says Rags did a response video to organize Chaos's take on Kenobi and absolutely savaged him. I'm still watching him, but man, Rags is based. Yeah, Rags is. Rags is based as fuck, and yeah, if he wants to have a go at organized chaos, then fucking have at it, Rags. Yeah, you don't want to get on his bad side for sure. Christian Bax says, "Did it take some adjustment dealing with the online haters, or has that toxicity just never bothered you?" Doesn't bother me, really. Particularly if it's just little tiny channels that get like 1,000 views on their video or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're always going to eat ankle biters, and my policy with this stuff has and always will be just to not engage with it. Same on social media. Like if people want to have a go at me on Twitter, I'm not going to get drawn into arguments with them because what's the point? It's just going to drain hours out of my life that I could use for doing other more productive and enjoyable stuff. So why would I care? And ultimately all this stuff is just words on a screen. And if I want to make it go away, I just turn the screen off or go to a different screen. It's easy. So it's just, it's not something I've ever really cared about. Yeah, it's worked pretty well for me so far. I sleep well at night, put it that way. Miaru87 says, "Ever seen Young Guns? The payout scene is fucking gold." Yeah, I've seen Young Guns. It's good fun western. Yeah, from that weird sort of era when westerns were out, and it was almost like a revivalist story or something. Yeah, it was a funny one, but I liked it. Doublespeak says, "Thoughts on new info about Bob Chapek? Hi from Australia." I'm not sure what the new info is, but yeah, I think it's a shame that he's out. I think he was probably trying to reform Disney. I just think he didn't get the opportunity and pissed off too many of the wrong people. Do I think he was this great creative force that was going to like turn it into something amazing? Probably not. He was just a cynical money man, but in a way, that's kind of what you need. I don't really expect that Iger's going to come back and make the kind of sweeping changes that you would need to get that company profitable again. Because you're going to have to fire a lot of people to cut out the rot, and I just don't think he's got the balls to do it. Sophie says, "Greetings from Peru. Just got the Critical Drinker Cyborg plush with Wizard Gary and Hot Dog Az. The plushy army is growing. Can't wait for Shad and Disparu to get theirs." Nice one, and yeah, thank you for ordering it. I appreciate it. I'm glad you got a plushy army growing there. Toshi Yar says, "Black Summer, very underrated low-budget zombie show. 2 seasons that start at point A and take you on a crazy journey to point B. Fair play. Sounds alright." Michael Batty says, "Drinker, I just finished Where Eagles Dare on your recommendation and loved it." Hey, that's a classic there. Keep them coming, you scallywag. I'm also on the second Drake novel. Thank you, and I'm glad you're... Well, I hope you're enjoying the second Drake novel too. Abe versus the World says, "Yo, Drinker, name a remake of a movie that is better than the original. P.S. Ellie from The Last of Us 2 is gay, by the way." Yeah, I think I did that already. I think that one's been duplicated. Mad About Hatter says, "Drinker, who is your favourite actor and who do you think is the best all-round actor My money is De Niro. My favorite, I think, just because I really like him generally, is Kurt Russell. I just think he's a cool guy. He's awesome. He's been in some awesome roles, and he's just really like grounded, I think, about fame, and he's said himself like, I'm not gonna. I don't think actors should get political. I don't think they should start spouting their thoughts on everything that happens in the world. We're just like the court jesters to entertain you, and I'm happy doing that. And I just thought, damn, what a lovely, grounded, like old-fashioned view of what an actor is. Yeah, I just think that's a really cool view to have, and I like him as a result. And I really like Clint Eastwood as well. You know, he's been in so many fantastic movies. Just a great performer, a great actor, a great director as well. You know, probably like in his later career, like far better known for his directing work than his acting. But he was great at both. What can I say? Stefan Herold says Daredevil series is some of the best material to come out of the Marvel universe, which kind of lost me 4 years ago. Changed my mind. Can't. It is some of the best stuff they've produced, and it wasn't even them. It was Netflix. It's just such a shame that shit got shut down, because yeah, Disney and Marvel's ability to do a proper Daredevil show, I don't buy it for a second. It needs to be violent and it needs to be gritty. Florian Gayer says thoughts on Valhalla Rising. Haven't watched it, so I don't know. Monkey D Garp says, "Can you react to the breathtaking world of One Piece by Straw Hat V? This may help you to read One Piece." I mean, I could, yeah. I mean, it's something I'll need to see. Doey says, "Do you game at your desk or the TV behind you?" I game at the TV behind me because you probably can't see it from here, but it's got like a PlayStation 5 there ready to go. So that's where I do all my gaming, and that's where I stream from as well when I'm, doing my Drinker Does Gaming streams. Henry Minard says, "Drinker, are you looking forward to Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer?" Yes, I am. Fascinating period of history. It'll be interesting to see all the shit that went on behind the scenes there. So yeah, they got a hell of a cast. I'm looking forward to it. Thomas Huls says, "Greetings from across the pond. I truly enjoy your content. I've supported you on Patreon. Thank you. And your film bought your first book. Was wondering if you've ever seen Brick. Cheers, mate. Have Killian's on me." Brick. So that's Ryan Johnson's first like big movie. I haven't seen it, and I've been sort of put off by the fact that it's made by Ryan Johnson, if you know what I mean. Which I shouldn't be. You should be able to separate the art from the artist. But damn, it's tough in his case because he's such a monumental prick. But yeah, I suppose it would be interesting to see like the kind of stuff that launched his career. But yeah, thank you very much, man, for all the support you've given me on Patreon. You've bought my book and stuff. Yeah, I very much appreciate it. Doey says, "Oh yeah, you were just adding on to the previous question about when I stream." So yeah. Unhinged says, "I miss your Musk on Thursdays." Yeah, like some Thursdays. Generally that's when I do my my live streams, whether it's open bar or whether it's happy hour. It's been a bit out of whack recently because I've just had other stuff that I've had to do, but we'll be back on track next week. So Thursdays when we'll do our open bar. I'm also going to be doing a live stream this Sunday. That's going to be another Drinkers VIP lounge, and I'm going to have Matthew Marsden. No, wait, is it Matthew Marsden? I keep getting them mixed up because my brain's turned to mush. Yeah, it is Matthew Marsden. Sorry. I had that moment of doubt in my head where it's like, wait, is that his surname? But yeah, so he's been in things like Rambo, Resident Evil Extinction, which I want to talk to him about, and a whole bunch of like TV shows and stuff. So I'm going to chat with him. Yeah, I've been waiting ages to get this done actually, so it'll be good to finally get him on. EER 5100 says, "What's your take on They Live, and what's your favorite John Carpenter film?" Yeah, They Live is great fun. Fucking love it for that fight scene with Roddy Piper and Keith David. But yeah, it's a pretty politically aware movie for back then. I know they were trying to make a lot of points about corporatism and stuff, and like social decay. I think it's pretty good. I loved Roddy Piper in it. Yeah, it's a great concept. It's got some batshit crazy scenes where he just starts killing the aliens and stuff, and yeah, the fight over the sunglasses is great fun. I actually did a happy hour on it as well with I think Kane Midnight, and that was gosh probably like 6 months ago at least. But yeah, we had a good fun talking about it. My favorite John Carpenter movie, it's probably got to be Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, it's just great. Love it. So, what's this? Sphianix says, "What's your favorite shite movie that's so bad it's great?" I've got to pick Michael Myers' Cat in the Hat. Oh Christ, so bad that it's great. Yeah, like I mentioned before, there's that movie that no one's fucking heard of called Fatal Deviation, which give it a watch sometime. It's really good fun. Most Steven Seagal movies, I think you could watch under that category because he's just like the man's ego is just incredible. And yeah, there's definitely Nick Cage movies that fall under that as well. Like basically most of the stuff that he's done over the past 5 years or so. Willy's Wonderland, give that a watch because it is just insane. John Smith says, "Do you think Brie Larson is trying to improve her image with men? She posts lots of images of her in skimpy clothes. Also, True Lies review sometime. Yeah, True Lies review for sure. I was talking about that earlier, and yeah, it's just a great fun movie. That's yeah, it deserves a bit more attention now because it feels like people don't talk about it much at all. As for Brie Larson, kind of don't know, don't care. Like, don't keep up with what she does on social media or anything. I remember the scene that I saw in of Ms. Marvel. She had a little cameo in that, and she's only on screen for like 10 seconds or something. But I just remember thinking, good lord, she looks like really painfully skinny and like old and kind of tired. Like, ugh. It's like she needs a few cheeseburgers or something. I don't know. Like I know actresses, I guess, lose like weight at times or like they feel under pressure to be like super slim, but that's like too much, man. But yeah, I think well, the reaction will be interesting when they finally have the balls to release a trailer for the Marvels because whoa, I don't think that's going to go down well. Dan says, "I just went yesterday to a Lord of the Rings concert here in Chile. Awesome score, standing ovation to the musicians. Somehow they forgot to include Rings of Power, but nobody cared. Oh, funny that, eh? Yeah, that would be great to see because like they've got some fantastic soundtracks for the original trilogy. Yeah, I envy you, man. I think that must have been awesome." Chris C says, "Hail from the USA. Thanks for keeping us company while I paint." Well, cool. I hope you did well with your painting, man. I don't know if you were painting a room or painting like an actual portrait or something, but either way, I hope it went well. Nvidia Goods MD Bads, sorry, AMD Bads says, "Your thoughts on Long Kiss Goodnight? I watched it last night after a long time and loved it. Hi from the land down under." Yeah, you can watch my review of it. In fact, on my second channel, I gave it a really good review. It's a good movie. George the Giant Slayer says, "This is for $100 as well. Jeez, man, thank you for being so generous." Watched the Tarantino interview. Was asked if he'd still make films. He answered like a boxer. He's still on the right side of the ledger. Still has the vision that people want. When he doesn't, he'll stop. Do you think Cameron's time is over? All hail Drinker. Yeah, I mean it's great that Tarantino's got that ethos, you know, and when he runs out of ideas, he'll stop, and he's in a position where he can. Like he's got nothing to prove as a artist. With James Cameron, I mean, I just have to hope that this is worth it because he's essentially given up 10 years of his career when he could have done all kinds of other movies in order to make these fucking Avatar sequels. I have to assume he's got some kind of crazy, amazing story to tell. I hope, because never count out James Cameron. You know, he's produced some incredible films over the years, and I hope that he's still on track with it. But directors, as they get older, they don't tend to improve with age. You know, look at Ridley Scott and the Prometheus films. Like, he should have just stopped, man. But yeah, we will see. Elliot Blair's give me a euro, so thank you. Whiskey One Eye says, "Drinker, have you ever reviewed... Sorry, you haven't reviewed a good old Clint Eastwood movie in a while. I recommend Absolute Power. It has everyone in it. Ed Harris, Gene Hackman, and Jen Psaki." Cheers, Drinker. Yeah, Absolute Power is a really good one. I mean, there's so many Clint Eastwood movies to choose from, but yeah, I've done a few of his films. Done Unforgiven. I've done Pale Rider. I've done In the Line of Fire. Oh, I've done what was the other one? Oh, Gran Torino as well. So there's plenty more to do there. But yeah, Absolute Power is a classic. John Smith says American Pie is an example of a film that can't be made today. Ever seen American Reunion? One of the better legacy sequels and made by the Cobra Kai guys. Yes, I thought American Reunion was pretty good. You know, these characters weirdly were always at the same age as me when all this stuff was going on. Like when American Pie came out, I was in my last year at high school. When the American Pie 2 came out, is like, off to college kind of thing. Same kind of thing. And the American Reunion just felt very appropriate. Like the actors were all in their mid to late 30s, and it was about, what do people do when they leave all this stuff behind and they have to like actually live their lives? They have to get jobs, they have to start careers, they start families. How do they cope with all that stuff? And I think it was pretty good. It was funny and it was kind of quite poignant at times as well in a weird way. So yeah, I think they did a good job with that. Yeah, I think they did all right. A little bit lottery says Mark Ralston and Zachary were great guests. Any more in the pipeline? Yeah, like I said, I've got Matthew Marsden coming on tomorrow night, basically. So he's the next. But yeah, those two were also great to talk to. Ham Solo says, do you plan on reviewing season 3 of The Boys? Yes. Personally, I feel like the show is starting to go Stranger Things route, where each season is a rehash of the first one, only not as good. Yeah, I've heard mixed things. The general consensus seems to be that season 3 was pretty good, but they fucked up with the last couple of episodes. So I will see, but I will review it eventually. Hadwell says, I hate how so many stories and shows are so much about what people are and not who they are. It's so shallow. Yes, that's just modern thinking, I guess. The John Beck says, have you seen the clip of Joe Rogan saying, I'm not scared so much of Brock Lesnar effing me, I'm more scared of him using me as a condom to F something bigger. Like when you're in a zoo near the bear cage, he's yelling, get over here, we're doing this. That sounds awesome. And yeah, I would be terrified of Brock Lesnar. Alex Future says £2.32, and he gave me, ironically, £2.32, so thank you. Accident Seller says, yo drinker, first time super chat, popping my cherry. Thank you. And I'm glad I'm the guy you could pop it with. I'm an Andor fan too. Luthen's speech gave me the chills. The writing is so mature and nuanced. It is, yeah, and it's balanced out by great performances by really talented actors who are not all like fucking 20 years old, like you've got a good mix of people there. So yeah, they've done a good job with that. Jeff Kincannon says, here's some funding for critical doggo treats. Oh, thank you. I'll make sure that they get it. Jack White gave me $50, so thank you. The problem with most of the Western entertainment sphere is that they have CNN, MSNBC crowd running things and they don't know anything about story or characterization. All they know is what CNN and MSNBC have told them to be angry about. Pretty much, yeah. You've essentially got writers now who don't have any life experience. They've lived the most coddle-protected lives in a kind of Southern Californian blanket. And so the things that they consider to be hardship and a struggle are laughable compared to the rest of the world. So yeah, I miss writers of movies and TV shows that had actually lived lives and been involved in things and had crazy adventures and actually knew what struggle was. Roscoe says, thoughts on Brett Cooper shouting you out and calling you based? Possible collab? Would love to see her on Open Bar, another woman to add to the drinker harem. Who's like, what did they say about me? Well, if Brett Cooper did give me a shout out, then that's great. But yeah, I haven't had much contact, I'm afraid. I love Jet Rooper says, hi drinker, what are your thoughts on John Wick 4? And yes, please bring Shad in when you guys can coordinate it. Yeah, I'd love to bring him in. Yeah, the John Wick movies, I feel like they've been a sort of downward progression in terms of writing. They don't, the action's definitely there, but whoa, they start to get a bit convoluted and silly. Yeah, I'll be curious to know where John Wick 4 goes. Obviously not seen it yet, but, well, it's got Keanu kicking ass, so there's that. The Tickler says, I know it's not quite your usual content, but I'm currently trying to write a novel of my own, so would you ever consider doing videos covering writing and storytelling advice? Cheers. Thank you, and there's a bit of that on my second channel. I've given some advice about YouTubing and like finding publishers, that sort of thing for your novels, so if that helps, go and check that out. But yeah, it's not normally a huge thing that I do because I kind of stick to reviewing movies mostly. But you know, my second channel is for like more in sort of varied stuff like that. Andrew Odette says my normie parents are super hyped for Avatar 2. Well, good. I mean, maybe that's the crowd it's appealing to. And last of all is from Jen Mai Cha, who says, ever read any Star Trek novels? I recommend A Twist of Faith. It's an adaptation where the authors seem to actually like, respect, and studied the lore. Holy shit, I mean, who would have expected that in this day and age? It seems crazy now, eh? It feels like Season 8 of DS9. Damn. Yeah, I've never really read the Star Trek novels. I think I read a novelization of Wrath of Khan just because I was kind of curious to see if there's any more details there. But yeah, never really been into like novels or like expanded universes for Star Trek. Maybe I should actually because damn, there's not much to actually watch on TV with it now. But yeah, that's the last of the super chats. So like, thanks to all you guys for being so generous and sending them in. It's been very much appreciated, and I'm glad I was able to get through them all. It took a little while, I know, to get around to this, but we're finished up with it. So I'll stop taking up your valuable time and I'll fuck off for now. And yeah, the next time you can catch me will be on Sunday night where when I'm doing a drinkers VIP lounge again. So hopefully catch you there. But anyway, that is all I've got for today. So go away now.